In this video, we're just going to run through some of the tools that are available to us to be able to help with decompiling and recompiling applications. So this will allow us to be able to view source code, modify it, and then recompile and reinstall the applications that we've created to be able to help us with attacking an application and testing different things in it. So the first tool is called dex2jar, and I typically use it in conjunction with this tool here called jadex. And the idea is that with dex2jar, we can take an APK file, and then we can decompile it into a jar file. We can then take the jar file and run it through jadex to be able to read the source code in Java. So we can actually decompile the jar file back into Java code. And for the most part, it will be able to convert the code quite well into a readable format, and we'll be able to understand exactly what's happening with it. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using 2.0 under the releases here. So on the right-hand side, you can just click on 2.0 and download the zip file here for dex2jar tools. And again, you can just put this in whatever directory you want. So I'll place it just over here. And then for jadex, we're going to be utilizing the 1.1.0 release. So once again, if we just scroll down to the bottom here, we should see a few different options. I typically go for with JRE for Windows. So you have a few different options of different builds, but this one is the one that I typically work with. So that'll just take a minute to download. While that's downloading, we can discuss the other two tools that I typically use during this process. The first tool is called APK tool. An APK tool is used to decompile an APK into Smalley or assembly type language. So the main advantage of this is that sometimes we aren't able to fully decompile into Java code. So you'll see in some cases your Java code actually won't be created properly, won't be able to decompile it. So this is another way that we're able to read and understand the source code just in a different language other than Java. So we have to have a little bit of assembly knowledge to understand the decompilation of this version of the APK. But overall, you'll see that it's relatively intuitive to work with. And then the other advantage of this is that we can actually modify the assembly code and then rebuild the APK to get a version of the APK with some modified code. And if the APK isn't properly secured, like the one that we're working with, we're going to be able to actually build, sign, and upload that file, and then be able to run it on our phone and potentially exploit the changes that we've made. So that's one class of vulnerability that we'll take a look at in this set of videos. So in order to install this, you're typically able to just utilize one of the different versions. So like version 2.4.1 will be the one that we'll use, and they have a download link available for it. See that you just have this nice jar file that you can save. In addition to this, when you're working in Windows, if you go to this install section here, they have a wrapper script that's a bat file that you can utilize to be able to just like easily access that jar file without having to continually type in like the Java commands to run the jar file. So this is typically something that I install with the Windows distribution. So I'll take this wrapper script as well as that jar file that we just downloaded. So that's just something to keep in mind. With Linux, they have a separate wrapper script and APK tool. So you can utilize whichever one you like. Luckily, all these tools are written in both a Linux compatible and Windows compatible format, so it doesn't matter which operating system you're actually following with, you'll be able to follow any of these different tools and be able to use them yourself. So the last tool that we're going to be using is called sign, and all this really does is it just signs our APK files. The benefit of this is that when we decompile an APK and when we make changes to it and rebuild it, we have to sign it again with a certificate in order for us to be able to use it on our device. So this tool allows us to actually sign the APK and put it onto our device. So this is something that we're going to be using as well. I'm going to be using the 1.0 release in this case. And again, you can just download the two different jar files here. So we want the sign as well as the sign APK file. So we want both of these jar files. And that's essentially everything for this video. So in the next couple of videos, we'll take a look at some different applications of these tools. But for now, I just wanted to give you an idea of what these tools are, what we're using them for, and just what versions we're going to be using so that you can get them set up on your machine so that you can follow along with the next few videos.